Hey guys, Paul here. So today I've got a suggestion for a really fun Yu-Gi-Oh format that you can play and that I hope maybe Konami takes notice and tries to do more themselves. And also a bit of a rant that goes along with it because that kind of just feels like it's how it goes with these videos. Okay, so I have been playing a lot with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure decks in recent years. You guys know on the main channel, Alec and I pretty much do structure deck duels like all the time. Whenever new structure releases, you can pretty much be assured that we have made a video about it in some way, shape, or form. Usually 3x structure deck duels. They're a lot of fun. So that's, stuff like the recent Crystal Beast one you've probably seen on the main channel, but also Cyber Strike, Spirit Charmers, Freezing Chains, just all that stuff, even the Egyptian God ones. Though they're not exactly, I'm not including them in this because they're a little bit different. But what I have found is that the structure decks that Konami has been doing in recent years is like really good. Like they've been doing a really good job with structure decks in the last few years, and I don't think that they've gotten a lot of credit for it. But they're really well designed, really well balanced, and we just have a lot of fun with them. You can check out those videos and get a pretty good idea of sort of the power level that these structure decks are at. They do a great job. So with the Crystal Beast structure deck recently, I think that they did a great job of giving Crystal Beast support cards that kind of help to catch it up to a modern standard and still keep the spirit of the strategy in there. And I'd say the same thing applies to, say, the Cyberdark structure. It's not really far off. It still keeps the sort of feeling of Cyberdarks, the general playstyle intact, but updates it with some really great cards. They get a continuous trap, they get a really cool field spell, they get a really great search card, and just some ways to still like use equips and stuff like that. Freezing Chain, same thing. Spirit Charmer is more or less same thing. I think really even like the Sacred Beast structure deck did a really great job. And so I almost feel like a format with 3 copies of any of these structure decks would be really fun. They're all really well matched against each other. I don't think that any structure deck has like a distinct super advantage. I'd say like of the decks that have come out in that last 2-3 years, the Shadala structure really good. That'd probably be like one of the better ones. I'd say the Machina, the new Machina one, is it Machina Melee, Machina Showdown, whatever it is. That'd be a really good one because it's got like Machina Citadel. But even the ones that you don't think would be all that great are still not really all that bad either. Like Freezing Chains, a lot of people saw it as like not a really great structure and all that stuff. But truthfully, like with it in a self-contained structure deck format, these can be really fun and they can work really well and it's a great time. Now then, I know that this would not be a super easy format to play because these products kind of leave the shelves, and once they're off the shelves, well, you can't get them. But it'd be really cool if at YCS events there were maybe public events. Now, here's where the rant comes in. I love these structure decks. I think the design for them is great. The cards are well balanced. They've done a great job. I can dote on them all day. But the problem is that they don't actually have a place in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And you can call me a Debbie Downer or whatever, but this is kind of the hard cold truth of it. The Crystal Beast structure deck is fun, and it's cool, and I think playing it against Cyber Strike like we did is great. But it's still going to get bent over by sprites and tier elements and even Sword Soul and Despia and all the other stuff that you're going to see at a tournament. Because, Crystal Beasts just aren't really, on that level. That's not the power level that they designed them at, and the same thing goes for a lot of those structured decks. Now, and I'm not talking about just trying to take a 3x structure deck to an event. I'm saying that even if you add, kind of modern staples and stuff, at the end of the day, there are just stronger decks and like weaker decks and stuff in between. Now, you're probably thinking, wow, Debbie Downer, you're so negative. The thing is, I just said I really like these structures. My main thing is I find that it's hard to find like who it's for when the tournament players are going to skip over these products. That's why they try to like throw in Ash Blossom or Shifter or some sort of a reprint in there to kind of keep the more hardcore crowd buying this stuff. But it's not really going to see a load of tournament success. It just isn't. I'm not saying it can't. I'm not saying you shouldn't try. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying that in general, the Crystal Beast deck is not going to be like winning the next YCS. If it does, I don't know, I'll do something crazy. But I don't think it's going to happen, right? Now, also, I find that they can still sort of be a little bit overwhelming for like a super, super, super casual beginner player because they are still structure decks. And, as much as I love the Crystal Beast deck, a lot of those cards have like 5, 6 lines of text on them. I just don't know if a new player is going to be able to like synthesize it all. But I think that Yu-Gi-Oh is missing a sort of middle of the road format where decks like this can exist and play and like do their thing, but not be completely like overshadowed by clear, high tier, tier one, tier zero decks, but just play amidst like amongst each other. And I think that that could be really cool, and that's where I think that Konami needs to, give us a format for that. I know one of the common gripes with alternate formats is that it's tough to sort of regulate the card pools for these things and sort of communicate to players what is and isn't allowed. But I think that a structure deck only format is at least a little bit easier to regulate because the cards in the structure deck are static, and it's not something where you have to really like explain to people why a certain card is or isn't allowed in a format. You can just say, okay, you pick 3 Cyber Strike decks, and I pick 3, of the Freezing Chains deck, and like that's just what we get to use, plain and simple. So it's static, and I think that that would make these somewhat easy to access. Again, it's like $30 if you want to have 3 of them. I don't know how Konami might want to do that. It'd be great if you could buy like 3 copies of a structure in one product for like $25. I I don't know that much about product design, so maybe that's not really feasible. I don't know how many people would buy it, but I think that it could be a really fun format because I hear about people's different sort of custom formats. I know there's GOAT, I know there's Edison, but those usually involve trying to kind of get your hands on certain older cards. And I know that people have like really custom things, like Trinity format's been suggested to me and stuff like that. But then you're having to like kind of learn a different rule set for like the actual deck building process. So that's a little different in that like there's like more custom rules. I'm not saying those things are bad, by the way. I mean, like those are a lot of fun. I know people play them, but I just mean like this is something that already has like the products in place for it. It would just be nice to see Konami give it a little bit of recognition because outside of advanced format where everything's just kind of legal outside of the ban list, we don't really have anything. I mean, I guess you can play speed duels, but people don't seem like they really want to play that. Konami doesn't market it all that much. It's kind of a little bit better as more of like a drafty format on the side. But this is something that I think could also be really fun. Feasible, don't know, but like fun and more feasible than other things. So, yeah, I don't know. To wrap it all up, I really like Konami's design with recent structure decks. I think that they're great, but I don't quite. I know that they are not strong enough to, be winning YCS events or really even like regionals and stuff. So they kind of miss the mark, and I don't know like exactly who it is that they're for. Obviously, anime fans will like them, and yeah, they're gonna throw in 1 or 2 good reprints to get a tournament player to like buy it for their Ash reprint. But I just think that it'd be nice to give these decks a format where they can really shine, and that would be really cool. So let me know what you think down in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one. Fast turn.